Tonight on Blue Mondays, it's 2012, but Republicans want to bring us back to 1960 by wanting to ban the pill. More shuffling in the Republican primary, but all we've learned so far is who they don't want. And Robert J. Wilson brings us a report from the Democratic tour of the state. All that and more tonight on Blue Mondays for Lundi Gras, February 20th, 2012. Good evening and welcome to Blue Mondays. I am your host, Stephen Handwork. At Blue Mondays, we focus on national, state, and local political news from a progressive perspective. You can contact us by heading over to facebook.com/Blue Mondays LA and liking the program. We likey when you likey. And we can certainly hope that you'll do that. You can also follow us on Twitter at Blue Mondays LA or using the hashtag Blue Mondays LA. I don't know what any of that means. I was just told to say it. Blue Mondays is on the first and the third Mondays of each and every month on AOC Channel 1 or anytime on Facebook. First up, the Louisiana Democratic Party has been touring the state, hitting over 50 cities and talking with thousands of Democrats about the party and what is important to us. Our very own Robert J. Wilson caught up with them at their Lafayette stop, and he filed this report for us. Robert?
Thank you, Stephen. It's great to be here at the Lafayette Parish leg of the Democrat tour. They're going through 35 towns all across the state to get the message out there. They're getting back to basics. They're trying to get back to the grassroots, and this is that part of it. I participated in last evening's Opelousas meeting as well. It was well attended, and it was great to be part of it. Today, we're going to be talking with some of our state legislators, several of whom are freshmen who are new to the business and who are really excited and are motivated to get going. We're also going to chat a little bit with some of the other figures in the local Democratic Party and hear from them. Representative Ortego, I just want to say congratulations again on your win in District 39 for State Representative. Wanted to ask you a little bit more about, you spoke a moment ago briefly about your vision for the Democratic Party, and wanted to hear more about that from you.
Well, what I just was explaining to everyone is that we as a Democratic Party in Louisiana need to be talking with the values of Louisianians, which tend to be democratic ideals. We need to make sure that we're talking about those and not making this a national issue. We need to make it a Louisiana issue. We have to talk about the community, about us all working together, about fighting for the working class people, the people who are building our roads and our schools, the people who are educating our children. We have to fight for a quality education for all, public education for all, and not just a select few. These are democratic ideals, and I think that if we start talking about this, the people of Louisiana definitely are going to respond to it. One of the things that I found on my campaign was a lot of people said, oh, finally a Democratic candidate we can all get behind and support. And it was only because I was talking to the ideals that most Louisianians have that tend to be democratic ideals.
Certainly, yes. And of course, education and healthcare reform are going to be big issues in this coming session. How do you see that playing out, and what do you see your role in that?
Well, one thing that I'm hoping and pushing for the whole caucus, the Democratic caucus, is to come up with our own reforms, not just say no, 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 but actually propose some real ways of changing things. I mean, I really think that we can be the party of reform, and I think that we have the ideas. We're the party of ideas.
That's great. Now, in March, on March 24th, we're going to have an election for Democrat State Central Committee and for our local parish executive committees. What message would you have for those people who are running for those offices, who are new to politics and who are getting involved? What would you say to the future of the Democratic Party?
Well, I think they just need to get out there and talk to people and get to know people, and I mean that's the best way to listen and listen to what people have to say and learning from all of the feedback that they get on the campaign trail.
Terrific. Thanks again, Representative Ortego, for joining us. Again, we were with Stephen Ortego, a newly elected representative from District 39. We want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We're here with Chairman of the Louisiana State Democratic Party, Mr. Buddy Leach. Mr. Leach, thanks so much for joining us in Lafayette today.
Well, it's my pleasure, and we're really excited. We're on a 35-town tour of our whole state, and of course Lafayette's most important to the Democratic Party and to the state of Louisiana. So we're glad to be here.
Great. What do you see moving forward as the immediate steps that Democrats can take to make sure that we make the most of this rebuilding effort?
We must get the message out that Democrats are for working people. and Democrats will help those who need help. That message has got to be reverberated in every household, and the citizens have to come and listen and spread the word.
Terrific. Now, moving forward, how do you see the future of the Democratic Party in Louisiana going forward in 2012?
I think it's very positive. We've already had some great victories with some of your local legislative races recently. The whole trend is toward Democrat values, and as long as it is, the Democratic Party is going to do great.
That sounds terrific. Thank you so much, Chairman Leach, for joining us. We appreciate your being on Blue Mondays. Hi, I'm here now with former Representative Wilfred Pierre. Mr. Pierre, thanks for joining us on Blue Mondays.
It's been my pleasure. I think this was a very important meeting. I think we cannot overly emphasize the importance of the Democratic Party pooling our resources and becoming stronger. I think now is the key period in our lives as a Democratic Party to begin to mobilize and become stronger. And I know we can. We have to protect the president. We have to keep Obama in. It's only fair that we give him a second term.
I agree with you on that one, certainly. And now, moving to local races, recently in the House election, we scored a lot of really key victories, particularly in Acadiana with the election of Stephen Ortego, Vincent Pierre, and Terry Landry. How do you see that strong group of individuals moving forward in this session?
I think, of course, Vincent is my nephew, and I'm proud that he was able to get elected. And I think you have a very strong local delegation, the youthfulness, and of course, it doesn't hurt to have the former superintendent of the state police as elected official. I think that makes us much stronger. Terry is very knowledgeable, and of course Vincent has worked in all my campaigns, and as you know, I stayed in the legislature 16 years, so he's got some good experience, and I think he's already started to make some moves, and I'm proud of all three of them. That's good for Acadiana.
Terrific. Now, as someone who's had extensive experience in the legislature and certainly in the Democratic Party, what would you say to the new blood that's coming in by way of the new State Central Committee and the new DPEC push?
First of all, involvement. They have to be involved, and now that they're in a leadership position, it's good for them to reach out. Start with little community meetings, start with little neighborhood meetings. I was effective because I reported back to the community, and they felt good because they were well informed. And I think if you look at the education policies of the governor, we need to really become a strong area to combat some of the issues that he's putting forward.
Terrific. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
I just say go Democrats.
Thanks a lot. Thanks again, Mr. Wilfred Pierre.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure to have you. I'm here now with James Thomas. James is a candidate for the Democrat Parish Executive Committee here in Lafayette. James, what made you want to get involved in politics?
I got involved in politics because I believe that young people need to show that we do have a voice in the community. And at a young age, I found that politics was the way to go because I love helping people, I love public service, and I just, going out there talking to people is just what I fell in love with.
That's terrific, and it's certainly great to have fresh perspectives and to have young people get involved. What do you see as some of the key areas where the Democratic Party can improve here in Lafayette?
I think that we can get out in the community more, invite people to our meetings, because I've been to our meetings and I see that only maybe 2-3 people will show up, and we need it to be, constituents coming and getting involved, seeing the people that represent them on this Democratic Executive Committee and on the Democratic Party. And we need them to come to the meetings and tell us, well, we would like to see this or we would like to see that, and that'll show us what we can do to better serve them.
Great. Now, of course, we just participated in the Democratic Party's 35-city tour stop here in Lafayette. What did you hear today that resonated for you, and what sticks in your mind as something that you heard that was inspirational for you?
Getting on the ground, knocking on doors, grassroots, that's the way to go, because it's not about how much money the candidates have. It's about getting out in the community, showing them that you want to represent them, and you're going to go into their homes, tell them, this is how I want to help you.
Terrific. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Well, I just want to thank the people in Lafayette for having me on the committee. I look forward to a great 4 years of serving them, and we're going to get the job done. Really
Sounds great. Thanks, James. Listen, I wish you all the best on the committee.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. All right, I'm here now with Mike Stagg. Mike ran recently for Lafayette City Parish President and is a very active part of the progressive Democrat movement here in Louisiana. Mike, tell me a little bit about what resonated for you most today.
Well, I was just happy to see the party out raising the flag of visibility. I think that's the main thing. I mean, it gave Democrats a chance in the air to gather and talk and network, something we don't get enough chance to do. And I think that it reinforces everybody's confidence that there are other Democrats out there, and there's no reason for us to be ashamed of being Democrats. You know, in Lafayette Parish, 4 of the 7-member House delegation from Lafayette Parish is Democrat. You know, Lafayette's considered a Republican area, but we have a Democratic majority in our delegation. And I think that's the kind of stuff we can build on here, and I think that we have been sort of quietly building an effective party organization here.
From a party standpoint, what do you see as the most important next steps for us?
I think the main thing we need to do, we need to pay attention to our core constituencies. You know, we understand right now from the proposal from the General Administration, they're going after teachers. They're trying to decimate public education. They're going to decimate University Medical Center, the public hospital system. It's not going to result in any savings in state dollars. It's going to actually increase the expenditure of state dollars, but what it will do is destroy public infrastructure. And we need to fight those things, because once that stuff goes away, we won't be able to get it back, but that's part of their plan. So I think we need to stand with teachers. We need to have meaningful education reform that reinforces public education, doesn't tear it down, and we need to make sure that people who need care, medical care through the Medicaid program, women, children, and disabled, have the funds necessary to enable them to get that care and the access to it.
Certainly. Now, shifting gears just a little bit, we've got elections coming up for Democrat State Central Committee and for Democratic Parish Executive Committees all around the state, and there's been an influx of progressive Democrats that have been coming in. What do you see as the shift in ideology there, and how do you think it's going to affect the party going forward?
I don't think it's so much a shift in ideology so much as a shift in attitude. I think what we have being drawn into the party now are people who are tired of seeing the party lay low, lay back, play nice, and get their butts kicked, basically. What Democrats want is a party organization that stands for them, stands with them, and fights for them. The days of accommodating the Republicans, of being nice to them because they're our friends, those days are over. We don't get that break from them. We should not give that break to them. We need to stand up for our principles. They're clearly under attack, and if we don't defend them, who will? And I think that's what's drawing progressives and people with this more spirited Democratic attitude into the party now.
Certainly, there are a lot of people who are getting involved and who are new to everything. What would you say to the people who are coming in brand new? If you could talk to somebody who has never run for office before, but they're getting involved now, what would you tell that person?
By taking a role in the party, whether it's on the parish committee or the state committee, you're saying, I am the Democratic Party. You're taking ownership of that party. You're taking responsibility for building that party. And when people say, where are the Democrats, they're asking where you are. So the thing is to get involved in your party, take ownership of it, and commit to building it. If that's not what you're interested in, then don't get involved with it.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
No, I've probably made enough trouble already.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for joining us.
All right.
Good to see you. Well, there you have it. That was the Lafayette leg of the Democrat Getting Back to Basics tour. It was great to talk with Chairman Buddy Leach, and also to speak with former Representative Wilfred Pierre, our current Representative Stephen Ortego, Mr. James Thomas with the Lafayette Parish Executive Committee, and Mike Stagg, also of the Lafayette Parish Executive Committee. We want to say a special thank you to those gentlemen for taking time out to speak with us here on Blue Mondays. So there are good things happening in the Democratic Party. 2012 is shaping up to be an exciting time, and we're looking forward to it. And with that, back to you.
Thank you, Robert, for that outstanding report, and for Jacob's work filming you guys. For more information on the Louisiana Democratic Party, you can visit their website at lademo.org or Facebook them at Louisiana Democratic Party. You can also contact the Lafayette Democrats by visiting LafayetteDemocrats.org. Since our last show, several more states have conducted their Republican primaries, and this continues to be a problem for the Republicans, as there's no clear winner as of yet. And each week that this continues, it appears that Republican poll numbers are dropping and the presidents are rising. First up, we have Rick Santorum. I suppose you could say Santorum is surging across America, though I may want to rethink that one. Santorum won 4 states in one night, and now is leading Mittens Romney in the number of states won. However, Republicans can't seem to get it together, as now a second state appears to have called one winner on the election night, and now another winner is going to be announced soon. Maine is the most recent offender. Less than 200 votes separated Mittens Romney and Ron Paul in Maine. Several counties are not included in their final numbers. This is giving heartburn to many Republican operatives. But more about Santorum. You may remember that Santorum was made famous nationally by comparing gays to man-on-dog sex. But now he seems to want to be famous for preventing women from having access to the pill. Yes, that is right. It is 2012, the last time I checked, and Santorum wants to prevent women from having access to the pill, calling it just plain wrong. Polls are now showing that if the race was between Santorum and Obama, the president would be reelected with 59% of the vote. Next up, Mittens Romney. He's certainly not doing well. He's lost every single contest since our last program. He has yet to make it above 50% in any of the states that he's competing in, and Republicans can only seem to agree on one thing, and that is they really wish they had somebody else running. Romney, trying to keep pace with the other contenders, seems to be doubling down on stupid, or as I call it, social conservative issues, which was the only thing that was making him stand out before. He's now signed on to the anti-gay pledge, which states, amongst other things, that he will push for a constitutional amendment to prevent gay couples from marriage. Mind you, he was the governor of the state that was the first state to actually make it legal for anyone to get married. He also would like to deny gay people from workplace protection discrimination, and he will form a special group to investigate gay groups, as if they're some sort of terrorist group. Romney, by far, still has seemingly endless amounts of money, but even that isn't helping him. It seems his entire election will come down to Michigan, which is coming up very soon. If Mittens can't win Michigan, the state which his father was governor, then it seems it'll be all over for little Mittens. Or, at the very least, it'll push the Republicans into a brokered convention, which, frankly, I'm hoping and praying for. Next up, Ron Paul. He may be playing the smartest game of them all. While he has yet to officially win any of the state contests, Paul is claiming that he's getting the vast majority of all of the delegates. This inside gamesmanship seems to be quite interesting. A similar thing happened sort of here 4 years ago when Mike Huckabee actually won the Republican primary here in the state of Louisiana. However, the Louisiana Republicans gave all of their delegates to John McCain. And then we have poor Newt Gingrich. Oh, Newt. Newt is still holding on and fighting, but he seems to be completely out of steam and running out of money, including his super PAC. Newt can't seem to find any friends, but thankful to us, he's still vowing to stay into the race until their convention. I just keep hoping and praying that he will. So that completes our update on the Republican races. Pop your popcorn, folks. It's only going to get more fun. Next up, it's 2012, but the Republicans are partying like it's 1959. The pill is now back front and center, and all of the Republican presidential candidates have signed a pledge stating that they support the personhood amendments, which go so far that they would make the pill illegal. Even in the state of Mississippi, far from being liberal, voters voted this measure down. Not the Republican presidential candidates, though. They seem to be doubling down on stupid. And Senate Republicans, not wanting to be outdone by their Republican presidential candidates, are now pushing hard for this moral objection clause for all of health care. This means that if your employer has a moral objection to covering, say, blood transfusions, like many Jehovah's Witnesses believe, then your policy would not be covered if you need a blood transfusion. This is all centered around the Republicans' desire to gut all aspects of the health care law, which is actually really sad. Next up, UMC cuts are continuing to evolve, and since our last program, UMC has announced that they are closing yet another department, one that addresses rehab from addictions. This has huge and sweeping implications, as Mitch Landrieu pointed out recently as he talked to a reporter. Check it out.
I understand you sent a letter to Jinal about mental health cuts.
Absolutely. No, one of the things that I'm really going to try to communicate to the president and to the governor is that when the federal government cuts and the state cuts, generally they say you do more with less. I'm telling them that we're having to do less with less, and that crime is our #1 priority. And I know a lot of people want to call in the National Guard, but it would be a lot better to fight crime to have more probation and parole officers, or fund the DA's office, or fund indigent defendants, which are all state responsibilities, and to make sure that we fund mental health. Those are all very important foundations to the criminal justice system. And so as Washington and Baton Rouge make decisions, I'm beginning to remind them of the consequences that occur on the ground, where reality is. It's not just theory, it's not just hope, it's reality. And what I'm trying to tell them is that if they want to help fight crime, they'll fund the things that provide the foundation for a safe city. Not having mental health beds is a very bad situation for the city to be in. And so I want to just remind them of that, ask them for the help, and just ask them to meet their responsibilities.
The mayor makes some very valid points of the correlation between the quality of life and direct correlation to the cuts to mental health funding and an increase in crime rates. These cuts have been dramatic and deep, and we will start feeling them very soon. Just this past week, I was told of a friend of mine who is officially being laid off as a nurse at UMC, and they will continue to lay off staff over the coming weeks. So we will certainly see an uptick in unemployment claims from the layoffs. Then we could see a rise in crime simply due to the cutting of the mental health and rehab services that UMC offered. With the closure of the rehab facility out of UMC, that is going to hurt Acadiana a great deal, as there will be no other place for the working poor to actually receive these services. Which brings us to some tragic news. Whitney Houston died a week ago yesterday. Houston was an amazing talent, especially in the mid to late 80s and early 90s, where it seemed she had everything going for her. However, the last decade was not as kind. Houston reportedly struggled with severe drug addiction problems, and even admitted to them in interviews. It seems sad to me that none of her friends were able to jump in and save her by giving her the help that she obviously needed. I suppose it's hard to be that person to tell her no when everyone else is telling her yes. I would have loved to have seen a Whitney Houston comeback. Alas, that isn't going to happen now. Folks here in Acadiana struggling with addiction and wanting to get help, that help is quickly drying up with the closure of UMC's rehab facility. I hope the folks out there will take this matter more seriously and that more attention will be placed on rehab services, but also on all mental health services in this country. But it's sad to know that in the same week that Whitney Houston's of Whitney's untimely death, that UMC is closing down its rehab center. Whoa, but look at the time. It seems we don't have any more time left in the show. We don't have any time to talk about the Million Moms. The Million Moms picked a fight with JCPenney over their hiring of Ellen DeGeneres as their spokesperson. This Million Moms group only has about 40,000 members, so I guess they must be rounding to the nearest million. But it seems to be backfiring against them. JCPenney has reaffirmed their support for Ellen, and now Ellen's fans are doing boycotts by showing up and shopping at JCPenney. But we don't have time to talk about any of that. We also don't have any time to talk about Governor Bobby Jindal threatening college administrators not to complain about his budget cuts or else. Yes, that's right. The governor's actually met with administrators from the different universities throughout the state and said, don't you dare complain about the cuts that I'm making to your facilities. It doesn't seem like any of them were listening, though. Thank goodness. They're at least able to tell us about what's truly going on in these different universities. But also, we don't have any time to talk about the Jindal's seemingly unconstitutional plan to increase the voucher program and rob the dedicated funds for education. This is going to be an ongoing story, and next week, hopefully, we're going to have a special report for you to look into this at a deeper level. But we're out of time. So our next show will be on March 5th. Again, come and like us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Blue Mondays, or on the Twitter, Twatter, whatever that thing's called. You can also find us there at Blue Mondays LA, and you can do the hashtaggy thingy. I don't know, talk to the other people that do it. I'm sure they'll be able to help you out. But for all of us here at Blue Mondays, we greatly appreciate you tuning in and watching us. Blue Mondays is our local look at national, state, and local news all through our progressive perspective. And we thank you for joining us on the first and the third Mondays of each and every month on AOC Channel 1. Again, find us on Facebook. We greatly appreciate it. And for that, and for all of our team here, we'd like to thank Robert for his special report on the Democrats touring the state, and for Jacob for filming it. So thank you for all of your help and your support. Find us on Facebook, and we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot, and good night.